Is the Nissan Ariya the best kept secret in the compact electric SUV segment? I think so. We're going to be going over that as well as what's coming for the 2025 models. Now, I drove the Ariya last model year, and since then the price has actually come down about $7,000 in the US and about $4,000 in Canada. There is a caveat to that though. In the US, the Platinum Plus, which this is, comes with the Napa leather interior. For 24 at least, we don't have that option. Now, under the hood is a 91 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, 87 kilowatt hours of that is usable. It's good for about 425 kilometers in this configuration. We're starting to get into winter here in Canada. I'm seeing around 400 at the moment, but obviously it depends on how you drive and what you do with your vehicle. The dual motor setup on this is good for 389 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. Charging on this, 7.2 kilowatt onboard charging, and then we have 130 kilowatts of DC fast charging. Now, I mentioned what's coming for 25. There is some differences between what the Canadian market models will have and the US market models. Here in Canada, and as far as I can tell in the US as well, the infrared and UV coated windshield and front windows is being replaced, and they're going to be putting privacy glass for the rear windows and the very back windshield. USB-C will now be the only charging option in the rear seats, whereas right now it's USB-A and C. And then there's some trim changes. So they're getting rid of one of the model trims. They're adding a leather option across the board, so all the vehicles will have leatherette. And then there's some tweaking here and there. Nothing really for this, again, other than adding that Napa leather as an option. It's already $3,000 to go with the Platinum Plus here. It's probably going to be like another $1,500 or $2,000. Pricing hasn't been announced as of yet. Now in the States, there's a little bit more to the list than what's changing here in Canada. From what I can tell, the center console movable tray, the power operated tray, will be deleted from the US models. There's nothing about that here in Canada, so only time will tell. And that seems to be a complaint from some owners. They wish that all of the power functionality of the center console and tray were just not on this vehicle. I like it, I just don't use it, so I can kind of agree with what people say. Other than that, things like the fog lights, they're only going to be available on the Platinum Plus, so all the other trims will lose out on it. And I mean, other small little tweaks like that. I don't think they're major changes to the vehicle, and it is in no way a facelift, so it'll still look more or less the same as it does today. Which takes us into why I think that this is the best kept secret in not only Nissan's portfolio, but in the compact electric SUV market. We're going to take it on the road, and I'll tell you why. Now, I've mentioned plenty of times that we have driven a lot of electric vehicles here on Test Drive. I personally have driven like over 3 or 4 dozen different electric vehicles, different trims, different model years. I've done a lot of them. I've owned electric vehicles as well. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to these vehicles. There's certain things that we look for that we want out of an electric vehicle. Ease of charging, so at least a 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger. DC fast charging at the moment, at least if it's 100, it's good. Anything above that is a plus, because there just aren't too many 100+ kilowatt chargers here in southwestern Ontario. But what we want to see as well is charging and scheduling and off-peak hour stuff. And the Ariya has all of that. So the infotainment system, and then you've also got some options through the Nissan app. Now, unfortunately, you have to have the app in order to do things like remote start the vehicle. There is not a remote starter on the car's key fob. I think that's a bummer. For me personally, I want to see that. I want to be able to remote start the vehicle wherever I am. And while the app works, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the most convenient when it comes to being able to remote start the vehicle. Sometimes I'm ready to go. I just want to get it started up for a couple minutes, and I don't want to fumble with the app. So having a button on the key fob would have been a big plus. Nissan has it on pretty much all the other vehicles, so it's kind of strange that they don't have it on this model year. But aside from that, the only thing that this vehicle is missing from an electric vehicle perspective is the ability to adjust the brake force regeneration on the fly. Yeah, there is a brake mode. I can put it into that right now, and it will bring the vehicle down to a stop. But I find that I like to have a little bit more control. And usually what manufacturers are doing is they'll put flappy paddles and use those to adjust the overall regen of the vehicle. So having something like that would be essentially like a perfect score when it comes to this vehicle. And I can live without it because you do have the brake mode. So you let go of the gas, it will slow down a little bit. You do have what Nissan calls E-Step, which is one pedal driving. I don't use it. I'm not a big fan of one pedal in general, but the option is there. So again, when it comes to what a electric vehicle should offer people and what we're looking for when we're testing these is what sort of features are there that people expect to find. And it's pretty much got it all. But then the other thing too is the comfort and overall space that comes on the Ariya. If you watch back to the 23 that I did, I said that that vehicle was almost perfect for an EV. I really liked it. The main issue I had with it, other than like the infotainment, it's a little dated. Backup camera quality is a little poor for what it could be, especially for the price point. This is a little bit more expensive than the other EVs in the segment. But it's my seating position. Look at me. Like if I sit up straight, I am hitting the headliner. So I do have to slouch a little bit. I don't like to sit this way. I do like to sit pretty upright when I'm driving a car, but it's comfortable enough. So if the seats could just go like half an inch lower, I think that it would be perfect. But I've enjoyed driving this car for the past week, and it kind of reminded me of why I liked the Ariya to begin with, because it is comfortable, it is spacious, it's quiet, and more importantly really than all of that is it's predictable. It's consistent driving experience when you're on the road. I know what to expect when I'm driving along, and there's never any issues with it, and never any like sudden, steering's gonna be weird or the braking's weird. We've had that on some vehicles where the brake, like the point that it actually grips, conventional brakes kick in, is kind of wonky. Obviously you're gonna want to use regen as much as possible, but it's smooth. Everything is consistent and expected, which is what I really like about this car. Now the thing is, pricing is a little high. It was really high when we featured it in 23, right? It's come down in price. So, we've seen some price drops from other electric vehicles this past year. I think that if anything, it does need to go down a little bit more just because it does sit in the more expensive price point. Good thing is though, you've got tons of features, right? Heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, dual zone climate control, panoramic sunroof. Like, you've got all this stuff that you would want. And then I like the design, right? We've got the wood trim along the center, the Alcantara along the door cards and dashboard. Everything feels a little bit more premium than it does on other electric vehicles. Maybe the roof should be black too. That'd be a little complaint, but small little detail that could be changed. But aside from that, like, seats are super comfortable. Back seat has plenty of space, enough cargo room for what I need as a family of 3 in the trunk. There's not much more I could ask for. Plus, the design's pretty good as well. I do like the look of this. It is pretty sharp, and I like it in this color too. So they've got a number of different two-tone color options for the Ariya. So that's really why I think that this is one of those vehicles that just, maybe people don't know enough about it. It is really the best kept secret in Nissan's portfolio because it is one of the best cars that they make currently, and it is a very compelling electric vehicle. I just don't think enough people know that this exists. If you're watching this, chances are it's because you searched specifically for the Nissan Ariya, but maybe you are in the market for a compact electric SUV and you're curious to know what's on the market. There's tons. I mean, almost every brand now has something in this segment. You have to stand out a little bit, and yes, Nissan's standing out with their price, but they are offering a pretty compelling vehicle in the sense that it is almost a complete package for what you'd want. Plus, if you don't need the fully loaded Platinum Plus, there's a bunch of different trims that you can go with, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as well. For our climate here, all-wheel drive makes the most sense. It was supposed to snow today. Luckily it didn't, but it is still getting cold, so it is nice to at least have all-wheel drive on this. But as always, we ask you to get into the comments. If you've got questions about either this vehicle or anything that we're doing here on Test Drive, please let us know. We do get back to everybody. I invite you to subscribe to our channel as well as we continue to grow. We want to make sure that you're getting all the latest content here that we have to deliver 3 videos a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. There's always something new for you here on PRN Test Drive. But until next time, we appreciate you watching and take care.